It has humbled me. Please. I was shocked. I was appalled. We've all given up this power. Enough of this chit chatter. I'm not a trash can. You literally go on Google. There is only one to the depth. Are the dead really dead? It's a silent killer. Take back your... Hey guys, it is time for us to have a little chat. You are not lazy. Let me repeat that. You are not lazy. You may sleep 10 to 12 hours every night. You may have no drive and motivation. You may be functioning on autopilot all day, but let me tell you, you are not lazy. You're just overstimulated. I'm treating this as a PSA for all the youth out there. Don't let the technologies of today kill your spark. Gen Z is the first generation to grow up with such access to tech and social media and the internet at any point in time that we want. And it's actually kind of crazy when you think about how unnatural it is to be processing that amount of information non-stop. Notifications, advertisements, all from the second that you wake up. Like, when am I gonna have a moment to think for myself? You know, I'm not even allowed to have my own thoughts anymore. Let me tell you, it has humbled me. The day that I learned that from the start, it really all was because of that damn phone. Sometimes I go through phases where I'm in this constant state of overwhelm and despair, and I really thought that I was the problem. Please, as if. First and foremost, don't listen to what anyone else thinks. You know yourself best. You know you have a drive, a motivation, a spark, something inside of you that's been missing. But at the same time, let's be honest with ourselves. We are the techaholic generation. Our brains have really adjusted to being busy all the time, and it's completely transformed the way that we behave as people, as consumers, in society in general. So imagine on the individual level. This behavior of doom scrolling and quick cheap hits of dopamine seriously affects our brain development. If you know me, you'd know I'm full of fun facts. So fun facts. Studies actually show that long or many hours of screen time and long-term overstimulation, which we all experience, rewires our brain in a way that makes it harder for us to focus, to deal with stressors, to remember things, to feel motivated. Honestly, just in general, you see this in your daily routine. For example, if you really need to watch something while you eat, or if you're playing a video on 2x speed because it's just not fast and not stimulating enough for you, or if you need that second screen, like, have you guys seen this thing on TikTok where you'll be watching a TikTok but it's duetted with another video, and just so it can be stimulating enough for you to focus on the first video? This isn't normal, by the way. I feel globally across all demographics, we really pushed the limit during COVID with this information overload. And I definitely believe that this plays such a huge role in the rising levels of anxiety and depression, especially amongst younger people. So why am I even talking about this? The reason that I want to bring this attention is because I truly believe it's a silent killer. I remember specifically this one stage of my life where I honestly felt stuck, with not even in reference to anything. I'm not talking about social media. I'm not talking about jobs or school or anything. I just felt stuck in my life. I didn't feel like myself. All I would always think about was I literally can't live like this anymore. I hated my own company. Oh, I feel so sad to say that because I love myself and I love my alone time, you know? But at the time, I really didn't know what was wrong, even though logically, like, I knew I had so many good things going for me, and in general, I am in a good position in life, and I was very grateful for what I had, so I didn't understand until this one day. I woke up one morning, the first thing I did was grab my phone. I opened up Instagram, and it opened up on the explore page for some reason. And you know how the Insta explore page looks like? It's just a bunch of reels and photos and posts and just different things that the algorithm thinks that you want to look at or it wants to feed you. And I'll never ever forget that first look, and that influx of information made me feel so physically sick to the point that I couldn't even eat all day. Like, I was just nauseated. For me, that was the point where I realized it's my phone. Like, my phone is really the problem. I haven't had any choice, any intention behind what food I want to feed my brain, what thoughts I want to fire and wire, what emotions I want to feel. But instead, I was letting the algorithm choose for me. Your quality of life is so closely tied to your thoughts because your perception is what creates your reality. And sadly, we've all given up up this power and in a way surrender to social media because we're not even in control of our lives anymore. And side note, it's actually so creepy how well the algorithm gets to know you. Like in the beginning, I thought it was predicting the things that I was interested in. And one day I realized they're not predicting, they're actually controlling what I'm thinking about next. I don't know about you, but I decided I didn't want that life anymore. I'm not a trash can. I don't need to be stimulated with cheap garbage all the time. Like I could just channel that creativity and passion elsewhere. Oh my god, you guys, let me tell you about this video that I watched on TikTok the other day. This girl was talking about how we're so nostalgic and we talk about and we miss and we love our childhood so much, not because it was more enjoyable, but it was because we were actually fully present. Again, going back to my first question, we're constantly fed information, so when am I gonna have the chance to think for myself? Am I allowed to have my own thoughts? That feeling that you get when you think about your childhood, I want to have that feeling every time I think about my life. I don't want to just float around. I want to be intentionally playing a role. And as much as this video sounds like a tech-hating video, that's not what it's about. Obviously, tech made our lives better in so many ways and brought us so many more opportunities and allows us to be creative and to thrive. So why can't we just have it hand in hand? Why can't we be present and use the tools within us and also the tools outside of us to make our lives better? You know, it doesn't have to be an either or. We don't have to be so extreme. You can really find the balance and learn to enjoy it. So I've had my spiel. I'm gonna teach you how to take back your control. There is only one solution. I talk about this all the time. The one and only, yours truly, mindfulness. I'm making this video for myself just as much as I'm making it for you guys because maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I was being kind of an online junkie and it's deeply affected me emotionally, spiritually. I also fall back into my old habits every once in a while, which is fine. It's so not a problem because I know I've equipped myself with the right tools to get back on my feet again. Just try to be my best to be consistent. So I'm gonna give you all my suggestions, my tips and tricks, my hacks, all the things that helped me overcome that kind of lifestyle of being super like overstimulated and lazy and demotivated and just feeling stuck and with no way to go up. So the first step in, let's say, just generally how to be better is unlearning all the things that aren't serving you anymore. Starting with digital stimulation. If you're working 9 to 5 or if you're a student, chances are you're on your laptop all day. That's aside from all the time that you spend on your phone or watching TV or playing games or on Netflix or on YouTube. Another fun fact, the average screen time of a young adult, so like someone between the ages 16 to 24, the average screen time is 7.5 hours per day, aside from all the time spent looking at your laptop. When I read this, I was shocked. I was appalled. Imagine how your brain is in this constant state of alertness. I think the best way to break a bad habit is to just replace it with a better one. Honestly, the devil is really in the details. You need to start with the little small habits that will have the greatest impact all the time. I've said this many times before. Your morning sets the tone for the entire day. So I just replaced the habit of going on my phone or my laptop or getting any type of digital stimulation right when I wake up. This is actually, honestly, so easy. So easy. You just need the slightest bit of willpower. The way that I did it, number one, I have a literal alarm clock. Let me show you. But it's not plugged in, but it's fucking loud. I'm someone who sleeps through my phone alarms. Like, it's not loud enough for me, and I also start to hear the ringtone in my dreams. So my phone is useless to me in the morning anyways. This way I don't need my phone next to me. I don't even put it in the room. Number two, this is where I sleep and I'm on my desk right now. So when I wake up and I get up, the first thing I see is my desk. So to replace the habit, I leave 2 things on my desk so I see them right when I wake up. That is a book and a journal. This way, when I get up and I want to reach for my phone, I'm giving myself a choice. What do I want to feed my brain with? What do I want to think about right now? What do I want to be stimulated by? I know sometimes it can sound like so much energy, especially right in the morning, right when you wake up, but it really, really forces you to pace yourself, to be intentional about your choices. Again, not just floating through life and letting the algorithm decide for you. Take control and choose the things that you want to give your attention to. I made one of those choices reading because, another fun fact, only 6 minutes of reading can reduce your stress levels by 68%. This habit was really helpful in uni because because I would wake up and instantly feel like super anxious, super stressed. So if I'm reading right in the morning, and I automatically it makes my day better. And the point of doing this, not going on your phone, not messaging anyone, not checking notifications, emails, is learning how to be bored again. Think about it. Boredom is what fosters creativity, self-esteem, original thinking. I don't need to be entertained all the time. Another reason that I'm saying this, why I think this step is really important, is because what you indulge in the morning is what you're gonna be craving all day. Let's just be mindful of that. So our morning is solved. Check. Next step. I have a hack that is so stupidly simple. I don't know why it's helped me so much in my life, like really changed the course of my productivity. It's the Pomodoro timer. You literally go on Google, you Google Pomodoro timer. It's 25 minutes of pure focused work and 5 minutes break. 25-5, 25-5. Like I said, us being overstimulated all the time, it makes it really hard for us to focus. I find it hard to focus for an extended period of time. And as someone who's working 9 to 5, or even if you're a student and you just have generally a lot of work to do, or you need to be in class and pay attention, you just need to find your way around that. For me, this was it. I think 25 minutes is the perfect amount of time to get like one big task or a couple mini tasks done if I'm being super focused with no distractions. Number 2, doing something with a timer puts me in exam mode, and I work best under pressure, and I feel under pressure when there's a timer. I like it when I'm like really deep in work mode and then the timer goes off and I'm like, ugh, I have to take a break now, because again, it forces me to pace myself. Number 2, I become more mindful of like keeping that energy up. So when my 5-minute break comes, instead of going on my phone, I'll just like start folding clothes, or I'll do the dishes, or I'll read my book, or I'll do a task, something to distract me and to take a break from work, but it doesn't put me in a lazy state. Number 3, even if I do go on my phone, it's so not a problem at all, and I think it helps me in general because I'm on a 5-minute timer. I don't think it's wrong to scroll on TikTok, but I do think it's wrong to do it for 3 hours straight. When you have a 5-minute timer and it dings, I have to get back to work. So it's forced me to limit that exposure. Like, yes, I still have the habit of going on TikTok, but I don't need to go on it for 45 minutes and forget about all my work. You know what I mean? Next, something else I think is important is strategy. Sometimes you just need to work backwards. Start from your end goal. I don't know, you want to be motivated, driven, be on a certain path. Visualize how that person behaves on a day-to-day, and then start acting like it. I'm sorry, I always talk about this, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs, think about the bottom level, your physiological needs. If you can't even drink enough water, or clean your house, or do your dishes, or your laundry, I'm sorry, but you're not setting yourself up to thrive. You need to create a healthy environment for yourself first, and then things will start to happen for you. Just in general, I really believe, and I think all of us are on the same page about this, that keeping a tidy and clean space really gives you mental clarity, at least for me. Makes me feel so ready to tackle my day. By the way, this YouTube video, I've been ready to record it, but the reason that I'm recording today is because a couple hours ago I did my deep clean of the room, and honestly, that's what made me feel ready. That's generally the case. Next step. Let us not forget the power of movement. What happens in your body is just a reflection of what's happening in your mind. And when you're moving your body, you're also moving your mind away from the constant barrage of digital input. Honestly, I'm really not someone who works out at the gym because it's hard for me to find something that I enjoy doing there. But I have a very active lifestyle in general, and I really make it a point to go outside every single day, even if it's for 5 minutes. Movement changes mood. I'm very in touch with myself, and I can feel when and where negative energy is trapped in my body. Exercising really helps you let it out, and this is something that we all know in general. Exercise reduces stress and anxiety, and it releases endorphins that make you feel so good and give you so much mental clarity. Next tip. Setting boundaries. Oh my god, you guys. I really do try my best to answer as fast as I can, but I will not and will never normalize always being on or always being up to date. It's really important to give yourself the permission to take a break from constant communication. I don't know why this is not something we talk about, but it's okay. It's more than okay. It's necessary for you to only respond when you're ready and you have the mental space to engage. And this way, when you're being more mindful, it also makes your conversations more meaningful. Next piece of advice. I only have 2 left. do some shadow work and inner reflection. This is not for everyone, but I think it's worth mentioning honestly, because sometimes being addicted to all this stimulation is not just out of habit. It can be an avoidance behavior, just keeping yourself so busy, engaging in distractions. It's a short-sighted way of dealing with an unwanted emotion. You're denying it the right to exist and you're not giving yourself a chance to feel it. I'm not gonna get too into it because this isn't what the video is about, but when you're facing a hardship, I really believe that the only way to go through it is to literally go through it. Like, go through every emotion and feel every emotion until you're done. This brings me to my next and my last suggestion. Practice being present in your everyday life. I know it's a given, and this is literally what we talked about earlier, how being present, being intentional is what makes life so euphoric and so enjoyable. Something I've experienced to the depths is chronic overthinking. It was to the point where it was so disruptive, it was really affecting my quality of life, and I just wasn't happy. And overstimulation does play a role in that. Again, when am I gonna get the chance to think for myself? This is something I'm so more than happy to talk about, because the more that I talk about this, the more that I realize a lot of us face the same issues, and it's actually really unhealthy. And it's so easy to say practice being present, but it's definitely not as easy to implement. I've trained myself for many years to get better at this, and not where I want to be. I'm still learning and growing and changing, and I have so many fallbacks, but I know I can pick myself back up again. I know exactly what works for me. And in this case, something that has helped me so much is meditating. Oh, I know someone's gonna be like, enough of this chit chatter. Meditation can come in many different forms, and to truly do it wholly, correctly, it takes a lot of time to get good at it, but it is very transformative. For me, sometimes praying is a form of meditation because I feel very present, very connected, very in touch with my inner self, but also on the outside. I just find being present come very easy to me in those moments, which I had only recently discovered. Oh my god, this is the right time to throw in a fun fact. I have it on a note. Meditation actually reduces the density of brain tissue associated with anxiety and stress. It's a powerful way to rewire our brains and create a sense of calm amidst the chaos. That's all. Those are all my suggestions. Overarching theme that I want you guys to remember, it's really not easy to break these habits that are so ingrained in us, but trust me, it is much easier than living however you're living right now, in this constant state of overwhelm and despair. You know how I said, I was kind of being an online junkie? After I got over that, and again, I was being more intentional about like what I was feeding my brain and like reading more and I thought a fun challenge would be doing a 24-hour dopamine detox. I want to do it this week and record it and make it my video for next week. Overall, I'm really proud of myself and the progress that I'm making, because I've come a really long way from where I started, but I think it would be fun to challenge myself and get out of my comfort zone and basically hit reset for a day. If any of you guys wanted to do it with me, put it in the comments, reach me in the DMs. I really appreciate when you guys do that. And that's a wrap. This is my first episode of my new series, Food for Thought. I just think it's so on brand. Like, I know I always come on here and I try to give advice based on my personal experiences, the things that I know. I think there are also so many topics that are not talked about enough that I think are so interesting, and I'd love to just get on here and chat and share something with you guys that maybe you're learning for the first time, or maybe you have such a strong opinion about a different perspective. Like, I really wanted to create this space for that. For example, yes, the first episode I'm talking about overstimulation in general. Like, this is my hot take on it, and when I was in uni I took so many classes that really opened my mind that I want to discuss them with you people. Are the dead really dead? Are the living really living? How the medical and the law system deal with euthanasia. I don't know, things like that in general I find so interesting, and I want to debate about this. This happens to me every outro where I literally have nothing to say but thanks for, joining and giving a little conclusion, and it always ends up being a 20-minute video, and I cut most of it out because I'm really not saying anything. Like, I'm just blabbing on and on. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week.